All right, there we go. I heard a ding. I don't see any materials out. I don't see calculators. I don't see a lot of stuff that we should 8.7 months into the school year. Come on now.
I don't have it. He does it. Yes, he does. Dude, you come search my bag. Put it in your mom's leg. I'm on mom's leg. I don't have it. David has it.
I'll give you I beat him up.
Yeah, he's just straight up lying. Yeah,
No,
he's still
one of them two has it.
You ain't never get that out of that. I didn't even go see it.
I need it.
Okay. So we had no assignment. We didn't really get to that part. We had started talking about and went through how the quadratic formula works. It's all about formula plug and chug. As long as you've got a calculator, do some basic order of operations, you now have the nuclear launch codes to every quadratic you'll run across. When kids get up to higher mathematics, to the point that we even have imaginary numbers, this thing still works. In fact, that's how they have to find it. So, we went through the two examples. We did not get down to the here. So, I'm going to run through it for you. One more time. What do you think? Which one? Oh, okay. 3. Okay. 4. Oh. 3, 4. 4 it is. Whoop. So, formula, where is it? Instead of just a blanket, look around. Where is formula? Top of page, right? So my formula is negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac squared of that all over 2a if I have ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Everywhere that I see an a in the formula, I'm going to put this number. Everywhere that I see a c in the formula, I'm going to put this number. Everywhere that I see a b in the formula, I'm going to put this number. And we had said that the way to do that was to use parentheses. Because if you don't use parentheses, I guarantee you're going to mess something up. I guarantee it. Because you got exponents and negatives going on here. So, first of all, does it look the way I want it to? Do I have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0? Everyone to one side of the bus. Not yet. So I got to subtract 6 over. And we get all 3 of these are not like terms: turtle, giraffe, tuna. So x squared plus 5x minus 6 equal to 0. You set up your formula. You can sit wherever. I moved those two together because I need that space to get my aircraft carrier out of here. Okay. When I set up my formula, I have to do it with a bunch of parentheses. Everywhere you saw an A, B, or C, you can put butt cheeks. Okay? X is negative B. It's really important that you do that parenthesis, because if you don't, you might miss the negative part of it. Plus or minus B squared minus 4AC squared of all that over 2A. Really, really good idea, especially as we're first learning this, to actually write what A, B, and C are. No, I did them backwards. A, blue. A is 1, I'll say A equals 1. So everywhere that I see an A in my formula, I put 1. Whoop, whoop. Plug and chug. That's why we call formulas plug and chug. You plug in the numbers, you chug through the arithmetic. Okay. B is 5. So everywhere that I saw a B in the formula, I put a 5. And C is negative 6. I put it right there. Okay? Plug and chug. You put the numbers in the spots. Now the order of operations says I'm going to do things in a certain order. And when I got a square root, it treats it like a set of parentheses. Everything under there is grouped together. When I see a big division bar, like our example on Wednesday, technically everything on the top is grouped together. I don't divide until the very, 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 very end. So I'm able to do this spot, and this spot together in chunks. Okay? Nice part about that is you can just jam this into the calculator if you don't want to do any mental math. If you want. Just make sure you're using the parentheses. So tell me, what is a negative of 5? Are you sure? Can you handle this? Like, is that a little too hard? I know it's been a long week, right? It's just negative 5. What's 2 times 1? Man, y'all are better than me right now. And, okay, this one got a little more mojo to it. What is 5 squared?
25.
Okay. 4 times 1, 4, times negative 6. Negative 24. So this right here says 25 minus negative 24. And it's important that we see those negatives in there because it's the difference between this being 1, which square root is 1, or when I subtract a negative, I really add the opposite, 49. So I do these 3 things in their pieces, and we get x is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 49 all over 2. First thing I want to do is look for that 49 on my perfect square list, because if it is, then I won't have nasty decimals on my answer. If it isn't, I got to go to my calculator and just write my decimal. Is 49 one of my perfect squares? Yeah, it is. What's the square root of 49? 7. And this said plus or minus. So I've got 2 things happening here. I got negative 5 plus 7 over 2. And I've got negative 5 minus 7 over 2. Remember, like our example, the division comes at the very, 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 very end. So you have to take care of what's on the numerator first. What's negative 5 plus 7? Just, right? 2. So this is 2 over 2. What's negative 5 minus 7? You owe me $5. I'm dumb enough to let you borrow 7 more. Negative 12. And finally, simplify both of those. 2 divided by 2 is? Uno. Negative 12 divided by 2 is? Negative 6. Those are my answers. 1 and negative 6. That means this parabola, remember, x squared, quadratics, quadratics make parabola graphs. This parabola, every one of the ones that we graphed, they were nice. They were like this, perfectly symmetrical on the y-axis. Well, this one is going to get shifted over like this, where it's going to hit the x-axis at 1 and at negative 6. Okay, it gets funky. So, walk through again, real quick. Formula, you got it written down. It's at the top of the page. Step 1. Get junk equal to 0. Everyone to one side of the bus. Step 2. You identify what A, B, and C are and jam them into the formula with all of your parentheses. Step 3. You're going to simplify those 3 areas. Step 4. You figure out what your square root is, and you're going to have 2 separate problems. And step 5. You simplify what's there to get your final answer. Okay? Because that's the formula. The formula has a plus or minus in between there. So that tells me after I clean everything up, I have to add this number and I have to subtract this number. It's a cheater way of writing both. Kind of like if I asked you what is the square root of 9? What times itself makes 9? And negative 3, right? So because the square root of 9, 3 squared makes 9 and negative 3 squared makes 9, when we solve these, if I say x squared is 9, there's a thing in algebra that says when I put the square root there, I have to put a plus or a minus with my answer because it could have been either one. Plus or minus is what covers both of my answers. Okay? So right now, we're just giving you the formula. Believe me, we could spend another 3 months on just quadratics. Easily. I'm just giving you like any number of games, you know, when you just kind of like hoard that one grenade or that one supersized spell or something where too many, just kill them all. That's what quadratic formula is. It does it for everything. Is it overkill for some of them? Absolutely. But it works. That one zombie walking towards you, you probably don't need to throw a grenade in his face. Okay? But it works. This will work every time. And that's why I'm showing you this at the end of the year. Because this will help you if you're headed on to regular algebra or into geometry. So, what I want us to start with, I did 4. Let's have you do 1 and 3. No, I take that back. 1 and 2. I want to go through 3 together because it does something weird. I want you to do 1 and 2. practice. You can talk to your neighbors, work it out, ask questions. Remember, you got 2 teachers in here, ask. But I want to do these 2 and make sure that we got it before I set you loose on your own. Write the formula with all the butt cheeks, all the parentheses. Okay, now that's the formula. I'm going to write this with every time I see B parentheses. Every time I see a variable, parentheses. Parentheses, parentheses. Parentheses. Okay?
Okay.
Do I have a bunch of junk equals 0 yet? Okay. So now say A is 1. Remember, invisible 1. B is -3. Ignore the x's. It's just the numbers. C is 2.
Okay.
So now everywhere you saw B, you're putting a -3. That's why we use parentheses, because it's a -3 now. -3. This was A and C. A. There you go. Now you take this. You can do this at one time.
So how did we get the -4 on?
You can do this at one time. And you can do this at one time. Because they're in 3 different areas of the problem separated by parentheses.
Okay.
Okay? So what's a -3? What's a negative?
Positive?
There you go. So here. So I got 3 plus minus. Here. What's a -3 squared? So -3 by -3. Yeah. Is it positive or negative when I do negative times negative?
Positive.
Yeah. So you'll have 9 minus 4 times 1 times 2.
But like, why is it positive? Or why are they both negative? Oh, because you're doing a -3 times -3. Okay.
There you go.
Hey, that's in my multiplication chart.
Okay, so 4 times 1 is 4, times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is. So all this junk in here comes down to just square root of 1. You're just doing the order of operations. That's like my 5-year-old's favorite word right now. Everything that he doesn't like. Boring. Like, dang, dude. 5 going on 15. 2 times 1? Just 2. Okay. Now I get to split it. Because it says plus and minus. It's like a 2-for-1 problem. So what is the square root of 1? So I'll say 3 plus 1 over 2 and 3 minus 1 over 2.
So you just do the opposite from up here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. A plus 1, a minus 1.
This is negative. Oh wait, why is that not negative? Oh, because it's 2 negative.
You miss your parenthesis there, Haas. Oh, you got your parenthesis, but you didn't put the negative in front of it.
Negative.
That's why we do it. Because that's the number one thing kids screw up on this is missing the negative. Or when you square it, leaving the negative. Like, you see? Like, those are the very first 2 things we goofed. So 4 over 2 is
This is way easier than I thought it was
2.
gonna be.
2 over 2 is 1. Here's your answers.
It looks like such a long process and it's super hard.
It looks like a lot because there's like steps, but think of it like any activity. Think of it like, you put things together. But you're in football, right? Think about when you're like in. Think about like middle school when you're doing footwork drills and you're learning how to properly, block someone instead of just tackle the guy on the defense. Like, you learn all these little things, but then by the time you've done it a bunch of times, all right, we're going to do just a standard sweep. Everyone's like, okay, I go here. Give it to the fast kid, score. Right? It's a lot of steps, but they're the same steps every time. And that's why we're practicing them, because this will work all the time. I've got kids in pre-calc that I've shown them 15 different ways to do stuff, whether they're whole numbers, whether they're rationals, whether they're irrationals, imaginary, complex, and compound numbers, like nasty stuff. They'll still revert back to this because they know this. Okay? I have no idea what else to do. All right, do a dive. Give it to the big kid and go hit someone. Right? Okay. But this one, it doesn't equal 0 yet, right?
Right.
So I need to make it equal 0. Who's got to move?
This guy.
Right?
So yeah, you just
Add 16 to both sides. So we got x squared minus 8x plus 16. Because none of them are like terms. Right?
right. So this would be
Tell me what A, B, and C are.
So why do we always need that -4?
It's part of how we make the formula. Like, there's math behind it. This formula didn't just spontaneously exist. And part of how we do the math involves that 4 showing up.
so would it be 1?
A is 1. Yep. B is -8. C is 16. But the catch is use parentheses to write this out. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am? Okay. Part of our problem is the x's don't come with.
They don't?
Hmm.
Okay.
A is the number in front of it. B is the number in front of it.
When you start on 2.
C is just the number.
Okay.
Okay, so we got A, yes. C, yes.
I
A,
wrote that down.
okay. So,
Oh, 0.
close. If this is just a -3 squared, it's just 9.
Okay.
Negative, you right, is +3. There's just no x.
Okay.
9 minus 8 is 1. Okay, so this now says 3 plus or minus the square root of 1 over 2.
Okay.
What's the square root of 1?
1.
Now we take care of that plus minus business. It's like a 2-for-1 problem. 3 plus 1 over 2, and 3 minus 1 over 2.
Okay.
What's 3 plus 1?
4.
Divide by 2.
2.
3 minus 1? Divide by 2.
1.
Ta-da.
So I was on the right track.
Yeah,
But
we just don't put the x's.
no X's.
No x's.
X is not allowed. Okay. And then for this one, so I know you have to get this over here.
How do I undo minus 16?
Plus 16.
Are any of these like terms?
Mm-mm.
So it's just x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 0. Okay. Then tell you what A, B, and C are. A is 1,
The quadratic formula is up there.
B is -8, C is 16. Set up your formula. Negative B plus minus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A.
Okay.
Plug these numbers into those butt cheek spots and then do the same thing. Okay? Yes?
That's right.
Okay, you did move him over there. And x minus 4 isn't just a 4 because there's only one of them. Yes. Because it says plus or minus. Like technically you got like an 8 plus 0 over 2 and an 8 minus 0 over 2. But that's kind of dumb because it's going to be 8 no matter what, right? Yep.
Okay.
It looks good. I think so. What's up?
How'd I do on this one?
Look at this guy. Dude.
Did I do it right?
Yes, yes. This is like 100% on his own all the way to the end zone. Because they were the same thing, right?
They cancel each other out.
Okay.
When he actually pays attention, gets off his phone, he knows what to do. It's crazy. Like, you're mature.
I thought we were supposed to have a test today. Today's the 5th. So yeah. Quiz.
No, today's day 4. Oh, wait, no, you're right. It's the 5th day where we would normally do it. I was going to go one extra day because I was planning to do prop stats today, but we needed an extra day for this stuff.
Wait, so since you're doing our final on the 9th,
I think.
since you think you will, what do you have planned on our actual final day?
The 23rd will be FUBAR, and on the 24th, if you are satisfied with your grade, I ain't looking for you.
I'm gonna show up to my white day one. Or my
Tough.
day one.
Okay, so what's the square root of 0? Uh-huh. What's 8 plus 0? What's 8 minus 0?
Wait, 8 0 minus 8?
No, 8 minus 0.
8.
So in both cases, it's 8, right? So 8 over 2 is... And 8 over 2 is... So that means you only have one answer this time. It's just 4. Yep.
Dude, I want to go home.
Okay. This looks like we were a little confuzzled, but then we did a few and, oh wait, it's the same thing every time. Okay. First up, I look at my equation, that's number 1, and say, does it equal 0? Everyone on one side of the bus. Okay, so I don't have to go moving anything. Tell me what A, B, and C are. A is 1, B is -3, the number in front of X, C is 2. If you need to put a note to yourself, do not put X's in there. A, B, and C are the numbers in front of X's. They're the coefficients. Then, The formula says x is negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Why is he doing this? Okay. Okay, so this is the formula itself, right? I'm doing them all tiny like this because what I want to do now is everywhere I see a B, I'm going to put parentheses. Everywhere there's an A and a C, I'm going to put parentheses. Because I poke the A and say, nuh-uh, they ain't A's, they're ones. Okay. That ain't a C, it's a 2. Those aren't B's, they're negative 3's. And this is why we use the parentheses. How many of us goofed up the exact thing I said we need the parentheses for? What's a negative 3? Right? Negative 3. Right? The opposite, think of it as opposite of negative 3. This piece right here, I'm not going to see the negative with the negative if I don't use parentheses. I might just write a negative 3 and be done with it, completely forgetting that the negative is in front of B. And then I do this part, and then I do this part. It's these 3 sections. So we get x is negative 3 is 3, plus minus square root of, all right, here, 3 squared is 9. 4 by 1 by 2 is 8. 2 by 1 is 2. What is 9 minus 8? What is the square root of 1? Yep. So I'll have x is 3 plus or minus the square root of 1 over 2. What I'm going to do is split that. This says plus or minus. That's 3 plus 1 over 2 and 3 minus 1 over 2. The division comes at the very end. This is 4 over 2, 2 over 2. Those are my 2 answers. The 2 answers are x equals 1 and 2. You set it up the same time every time. First, I make sure everything is set equal to 0. This is not. So we throw our Paxton line in there, say plus 16. And x squared minus 8x plus 16 is 0. Identify A, B, and C. A is 1, B is negative 8, C is 16. Write my formula with a bunch of parentheses. Put all them butt cheeks on there. Yes, ma'am? Oh, yeah. Front table is fine. All right. Just 2?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So we say x is negative thing plus minus thing squared minus 4 thing square root all over 2a. Everywhere that there was a b, it's now a negative 8. Everywhere that there was an a, now it's a 1. Everywhere there was a c, now it's a 16. And this does something weird. What's a negative 8 squared? 64. So here, negative 8 is 8 plus minus square root of 64. 4 by 1 by 16. So it says minus 64. Well, 64 minus 64, that's one of the easiest math problems we've ever done. So x is 8 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. What is the square root of 0? Just 0. So whether I say 8 plus 0 or say 8 minus 0, 8 plus or minus 0 is going to be just 8. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we get this weird instance of both of them having the same answer. Doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then, this is something that happens. Okay? Go ahead and cross out 3 because it did the same thing. I just didn't realize that 2 did too. Like the square root, the radical, ends up being 0 again. Flip it over. All right, where's a not good one? No, those are nice. No, that actually comes out clean. 24, that's factorable, that's factorable. Oh, all these end up nice. Sweet. Pick one. You might have some fractions, but pick one. Now do you want to do 6 or 7 or okay? Okay. I heard a 6, a 7, and a 9, so we'll ignore those two. 5, so 6, 12, 18. 12 is 7. The dice have spoken. Does it look the way I want it to? No, I need junk equal to 0. Hey, you can go back to your spot, dude. It don't look the way I want it to, so I have to make it look the way I want it to. I'm going to say 2x squared minus 9x plus 12. What's next? Tell me what A, B, and C are. Okay. Elise?
What?
I'll grab this real quick. I'm going to show you all one of the smartest things that I've seen all semester. First thing she did, how many times have we talked about transference? And there just being too much crap going on. It's just alpha number soup everywhere. Break it up, okay? Means we learned a skill this semester. Okay? I'm going to write my formula, but I'm not going to write all my A's, B's, and C's in there this time. I'm going to replace all of them with my parentheses. I should have my formula written somewhere on the page, though, so I can keep referring back to it. Negative B plus minus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Okay, so you replace all them A's, B's, and C's with a bunch of butt cheeks, parentheses. And then plug them in. Do you have the formula written down off to the side? Do you have it on the top corner of your paper somewhere so you don't have to keep looking back and forth? Because remember, that transference wrecks us. Flipping back and forth between things is the first one. A, B, or C? Okay. The second one, A, B, or C? Third one, A. Oh, that's 2 now. C is 12. And then A. Okay. Take the different pieces at a time. I can do this at one time, this at one time, and this at one time. So, negative 9. Yo? I got no cards. I got no cards. Okay. Anyone else want to have the formula written off to the side? Anyone else? Okay. So you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Good. Okay. If you need to write that formula out again. Negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There's even a little song that goes with it. I know some middle school teachers will make their Algebra 1 crew sing the song every day in class. I'm not like that. Mostly because I can't sing worth it. I ain't good. Especially sleep deprived. My voice kind of waffles between a dying frog and a squeaking piece of rusting metal. So. All right, back over here, negative 9. Regular 9. Plus minus square root of 2 by 2 was 4. Take care of these two pieces. Negative 9 squared. Okay, I heard an 81 and a negative 81. Which is it?
Multiplying negative 9 by negative 9.
A negative times a negative is a positive. No, that's why we use the parentheses though. Because in a calculator, if you type negative 9 squared versus negative 9, the quantity squared, they will give you different answers. This will tell you negative 81, this will tell you positive 81. Because this, exponents come before multiplication. I need the parentheses because parentheses come before exponents. Okay? There's a lot of times kids will say, my calculator's lying to me, or my calculator's wrong. Nah, dude, that's user error. Sorry. So, let's try this again. We said 81. Just be careful about that. That's why we use parentheses. What's 4 by 2? By 12. Okay. I'm actually glad y'all chose 7. Because what is 81 minus 96? Is negative 15 one of the numbers on my yellow diagonal of perfect squares? Is plain old 15? No. So, calculator it is. Grab a calculator. And I do the square root of a negative 15. What does it tell me? You can't do that. Right? I want you to think about this. Non-real answers. You've heard me say this a few times. There are such things as imaginary numbers. Some of your calculators, if you got a nicer scientific calculator, if you try to do this, it'll say I root of 15. Okay? Algebra 2 will tell you when you're older. For now, what we need to know is that if this is asking the square root of negative 15, it's saying what times itself will make negative 15. But if it's a positive number, what's a positive times positive? Well, what if it was a negative number? What's a negative times a negative? How am I ever going to get a negative 15? But that's not times itself now. Come back in Algebra 2, we'll tell you all about it. Okay? It's super easy, you just stick an eye with it. Okay? And it really, the concept of imaginary numbers and something that's not technically possible, by putting a variable in there and being allowed to work with it, it opens up the door to the rest of math. Y'all, there's like another 19 courses after Algebra 2 that you could go through. And that's assuming you don't want to go to a doctorate. Like, there's a lot. You could do some pretty funky math, and it all starts with understanding that there is no spoon. It is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself. Open the door, accept that there is such a thing as an imaginary number, and all of a sudden you can do some weird math. We're not in weird math. I did square root of negative 15, and my calculator said, dude, what? So you know what my answer is? No real solution. No real solution. Okay? There are solutions, they just ain't real. We'll tell you when you're older. Okay? So somewhere up at the top or next to this problem, I want you to write, you missed your square root.
Because I want like 9 plus 15 over 4.
You missed the square root. It's square root of negative 15. You can't just yeet the square root out of there because you felt like it.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay? So put a note somewhere on here that if you ever try to do square root of a negative, you have broken math law. And now it's no real answers, no real solutions. In fact, with Algebra 2 and beyond, what we do in my classes, we say the commandments of domain. Thou shalt not divide by 0. You can't do that. Thou shalt not take square root of negatives. You're not allowed to do that. Okay? There's a bunch of them. There's even stuff that our pre-calc kids don't know. Okay? So, everything on here is going to either end up working nice or not working at all. We've got time. I want you to pick 4. Actually, hold on, there's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here we go. We're just going to ping pong around the room. These ones. 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9. Okay? So every one of you is going to do one of these. We got space? Oh yeah, we got space. Okay, all of this gibberish on the board, you can get rid of all that. That was from yesterday anyway. To the boards! If anyone wants front, they can have it. Okay, which one are you on? 3? Boop. All right. Probably not the best idea if the 4 stooges are all in one area. How about you spread yourselves out a little bit? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, step 1. Is that plus or minus? You got to move it over.
What are you doing?
I have to subtract 4 to move it, right? So just say minus 4. You can't like physically just pick it up and throw it over there. You subtract 4 from both sides. Minus 3x squared plus x minus 4. Okay. Then you say A is 3, B is 1, remember our invisible one? C is negative 4. Your formula, negative B plus minus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So you start by saying X is, and you put a bunch of butt cheeks, a bunch of parentheses, everywhere that there used to be variables.
I got you there. You got me there, I got you there. Oh.
Now you match.
Minus B.
So since B was a 1, you put a 1 in the parentheses. There you go.
B is
This is a different blue.
4, 3,
No, that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff.
negative 4,
There you go.
negative 4.
Oh,
That's it. 3.
Wait, what's the?
okay. Now you do them in pieces. And all this in here, you can just jam that on a calculator if you want. You can type it exactly the way it's written. Parenthesis 1, parenthesis squared. Minus 4, parenthesis 3, parenthesis, parenthesis, negative 4, parenthesis. 49. What's a negative 1?
Negative 1.
Ooh, tough one, right? So I got negative 1 plus minus square root of, we said this was 49. What's 2 times 3?
6.
Yee. And now you split into the plus and minus thing. What is the square root of 49?
Isn't that just whatever equals it?
What times itself makes 49? Yep.
Who are you? You weren't even in this conversation.
It's on my diagonal. It's one of my perfect numbers.
7.
There you go. So I'll say this is, yeah,
7.
negative 1 plus or minus 7. So I'm going to turn it into a plus 7 problem and a negative 1 minus 7 problem. What is negative 1 plus 7?
6.
Oh, so it'd be 4.
Negative 1 minus 7.
Negative 8.
6 over 6.
1.
Negative 8 over 6. That one we got to reduce. So you can either type the fraction and have it simplify it for you, or you can say, what do they have in common?
What type of fraction?
Alpha, y equals. I'm going to do alpha, y equals. And just hit enter, and it'll give you a box. So type -8 over 6.
Negative 4 over 3.
There you go. Those are your two answers. 1 and -4/3. That's it. Okay, so step 1. Junk equal to 0, tell me what ABC are. Step 2, write formula with a bunch of parentheses. Step 3, plug. Step 4, chug. Okay?
That's plug.
No, we did it here. You good. Purple?
Purple. I'm purple.
squared minus 4 by 2 by 10, so 5, so 5, 80, 144, 80, 64, 8 plus minus 4. 8 is... Zing! Got it. AC plus. Okay, so 8, 24, 96, 96 plus 25. Why do you just say 96 though? Isn't it 25 plus 96? There you go. Okay, y'all a bunch of knuckleheads, but you're actually doing good. Okay. Okay, A, B, and C. Got A. Got B there, A there, C there, C. It's good so far. And what we want to be careful about is over here. Yeah, this is 16.
Yeah.
What's 4 times 1 times 6?
Oh, you doing 24?
So minus 24. And extend this radical out because they're all still in radical town. There you go. All right, now keep going. Let him. Okay. 16 minus 24, -8. Okay.
Did I do it wrong?
Got your calculator on hand? What's the square root of -8?
Oh, wait.
Oh no! We broke math! And Mathocles comes down from the temple with the tablet that says, "Thou shalt not take square root of negatives." So we just do a big fat old no real solutions. Okay. This working okay after getting a few rounds? This working okay after getting a few rounds? Okay. I like that. Yep, I like it. Broken math. Yep. 21, 11, 75, 2.
You just copied me. Yeah, I knew I put it. So then, that boy.
I think so. I'm just like completely blanking. 24, so it's -8, +3. So 3 comes out as x minus 4.
I see what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not 4. 2 times 2 is 4.
There we go. I'm going to say, you should have fractions in this, and I'm just missing something entirely. So this becomes 4, 4, 4, 4. And that means one of them will be a fraction at the end. Hi.
Hi. Could I take a test right now or no?
Yeah.
If I had to make it.
After the goof troop here is done, the front table is empty.
Easy money.
Well, if you've been done, then go sit your butt down, dude. Yes. I'm coming around and checking. Or wait, no, you.
History
Last couple of weeks been raw. Is it quiz 9 or 10? Okay, 81 minus 10. Oh, what's 4 by 2? 4 times 2. What's 8 times 5? 40. Yeah, just right there. Turn that into a 40. That means you're going to have to go to decimal town. Yep. Because 81 minus 40 is 41, and that's not one of our perfect squares. Almost. You got to turn this to a 41. And the square root of 41 is a decimal from your calculator. No, not just plain 41. Stop that. Go get a calculator. What's the square root of 41?
No, I don't think there is one. There's definitely one.
Remember, this is the one I said we're allowed to go to decimal town now. It's going to be 6 point something. Go find it. Okay. So we've got 9 and we've got 10. Well, which one are you ready for?
Because I'm going to take one in Spartan time and one right.
Do you have a preference?
Not really. Just give or take.
Okay. All right. Now, most of us, we're finding our numbers are perfect squares, or we're negatives. If it's a negative, it's just you can't do that. Okay? It's illegal. Dylan's note over there, it's broken math. Okay? But some of us, okay, ping and pong over here. Oh, John, pause. What's minus a negative 32?
Bang! Easy money. I did. I just messed up my.
You just had an arithmetic goof. That's all right.
I thought.
Right over here, it says minus a negative 32. So plus 32. Which changes this guy. And then this stuff. Okay, kind of domino effects in there. And then this is a perfect square. Okay. So I want y'all to see the one that oh. Grace missed a negative. Because that one should come out clean. But whatever. I'm gonna write it as he has it up there. What's he doing, number 5? Okay, so he ran it like this. Okay, he just missed a negative. And that's okay. I want to show you this, what happens. Everything is equal to 0, so I'm good to go. I would set up my formula. X is negative b squared minus plus minus. Oh, no. Plus minus b squared minus 4ac squared. That. Because I don't think we ran across any that had the, that had decimals in it. We say A is 2, everywhere there's an A, there's a 2. We say B is 9, everywhere there's B, there's 9. We say C is 5, everywhere there's C, there's 5. Do the 3 different sections of the problem, and we'll get X is negative 9 plus minus. Over here we've got 81. 2 by 5 is 10. 10 by 4 is 40. 81 minus 40 is 41. Go look at your perfect square list. Look at those yellow diagonals. Do you see 41? No! So now we got to go to the calculator. Okay? You go to the calculator and you tell me square root of 41. Oh. And it's going to give you some nasty decimal because the simplified radical for it is only square root of 41. Like, it doesn't get any cleaner than that. So I'm just going to call it 6.4. I can still finish the problem though. I now say that this is negative 9 plus 6.4 over 4 and negative 9 minus 6.4 over 4. You can still do that with decimals, right? It's one of the few times that I said we can use decimals. Negative 9 plus 6.4 is negative 2.6 over 4. Negative 9 minus 6.4 is negative 15.4 over 4. And then I grab the calculator and I divide again. And I get, what's that, 0.515?
Calculator.
685?
0.65.
0.65. Oh. Yep, that's why I said we need to check. Okay, do negative 15.4 divided by 4. Yeah.
So I did number 5 and I got some a little different.
Because this is supposed to be a negative.
But another, my top one, I got 1/2. Do I need to change that?
No. Okay, what do we get? 3 point what? Okay. Are you okay doing it with a decimal like that? Like, if you have to run off to the side and press the button to get a decimal instead, it's still the same process. Now, let's say you get all the way to the end of it. This is why it's important to show your work. You get all the way down here, and this is a problem on the test. But it turns out you goofed because that's minus 5, not plus 5. See how we still have the full process? We still wrote it out. We still put all of our numbers in those parentheses. We still simplified correctly according to what we had. I would call that 4 out of 5. All right? I'm not going to crush you for the domino effect. But look at how it changes things. If that's a -5, now this is plus 40. 81 plus 40 is now 121, which is a perfect square. Now this is 11. And everything comes out so much cleaner. Okay? I would have a 2 over 4. I would have a -20 over 4. Getting a -1/2. Getting a -5. Okay? You missed a negative. Okay? But do you see the domino effect when I actually write out the corrections? I'll give you 4 out of 5 for that. Just this is why we slow down. This is why we use parentheses. This is why we got to be careful. There's a lot of moving parts in this machine. So, on the other side, whoop, flip it to the next page. You don't have that? What? Oops. Ha 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 ha. No. You are going to do, everyone's doing numbers 1 and 2. I did this one, and you should have done one of these, right? I want you to do 1 and 2 and pick one more over here. Pick one more. Okay? That's it. That's what you're doing. You got time to do 3 more problems? 15 minutes? "15 minutes, 3 more problems? I think you can handle it." Okay? And that's it. We finish off there. When y'all come in on Tuesday, you're going to do daily check for this. It'll be 1 quadratic formula problem. We'll do a review and quiz. And then Thursday next week, we start reviewing for the final. Okay?